Welcome back to another Mailbag episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get, and we never know what we're going to get with mailbag questions. So, I have compiled everything a little bit backwards this time. Normally, we have three hosts sit down and talk about answering all of the questions that have been sent in over the month. However, this time we have three patrons sitting down and answering 20 questions that have been sent in by the hosts. So I sent out a blast message a couple of times to the other hosts to see if they had any good ideas for questions or what they wanted to ask you guys. I got a variety of bullshit back. Most of them are roughly D&D related. Some of them are not. And there are questions here from, in no particular order, Brad, Peps, Kyle, Dan, Mieka, Tyler, Sean, Elwin, Dave, and myself. But I asked for 20 questions for them, from everybody. I ended up getting 44. So the way that this is going to work is we are going to roll dice, and we are going to roll a d20 and answer the question. We're going to go in an order. We're going to roll initiative at the very beginning. And then every time that a question is asked, I'm going to replace it with something from the overflow list, so that if we re-roll that number, that's fine. We're going to go through 20 questions. But before we do anything else, I am joined today by Robert, Andri, and Scott. I went in counterclockwise order on my Zoom call. So you guys should recognize them from the Metallic Greatwyrm episodes. We've been doing all sorts of like world building or just loving Eberron recently. So if you guys are ready to go, or you want to say hi or give a shout out to anybody, let me know now. Otherwise, we're going to jump into Scott's god-awful tradition.
Man, I feel like this is going to be payback from all of the hosts for all of the questions we have asked.
Yeah,
It's not as bad as you'd think. If I had let Terry know that Shatner Pants would be on this, then he would have had some choice questions. So,
I don't see what. Never mind.
You know, if Terry was on Discord, maybe he'd know.
all right. So, Terry is on Discord, but he ducks the public channels. He can't handle the notifications. So
that's fair.
That's fair.
Well, my god-awful tradition, I have my shot of whiskey here ready. If we're doing D&D, we start off with a shot. Who's with me?
I'm with you. I got a shot of whiskey.
Do we all have shots of whiskey?
I have
Robert, what are you
rum.
drinking?
I got some rum here.
Oh, mixing it up. All right.
Different.
I'll take it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, bottoms up.
Cheers.
It is 10 in the morning. Oh my goodness.
It is 9 in the morning here.
It is 4 for me.
My wife's trying to put a baby down for a nap next door, so I feel great.
Ooh, I feel warm now. Oh boy, as it didn't feel warm enough in an aluminium factory.
Everybody has a D20 with them?
Yes, sir.
I got like 6 in case one makes me mad.
Oh, they're all gonna make you mad. But let's grab dice and let's roll them.
Alrighty.
All right. Who's going first in initiative?
Not me, Nat 1.
Oh, yeah. There's
9
always one,
for
isn't
me.
there?
What'd you get, Andri?
I have gotten a 14.
All right. We're going in alphabetical order. We're going to re-roll again at the halfway point, if I remember that. So, but the plan is so that Andri will not have to answer all of the questions first.
Yeah, thank you.
So the way that we're going to do this is, Andri, you're going to roll a d20, and then I'm going to ask a question. You have to answer it first, but everybody then gets to weigh in afterwards.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to Robert to do the same thing, and then Scott to do the same thing. And we will just start working our way through this random table of absolute insanity. So, Andri, roll a d20 for us.
Yes, sir. Let's see. I have gotten another 14. Would you look at that?
14. Tyler asks, what is your favorite pillar of D&D play? Combat, exploration, or role-playing?
Okay. I would probably personally go role play. Mostly because of the role play is such a big pillar in D&D, but it's also you can do so much in role play. It's never the same thing, whereas combat can become the same, I feel sometimes. But role play, it's never the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's always just a little bit of the random, hey.
Yeah.
Robert, Scott, weigh in. What is your favorite? You can just shout out your answer at this point.
Shouting
Well-
out my answer. Oh, yep.
Okay,
All
no,
right.
you go first. We're alphabetical order, my guy.
Yeah. Politeness be damned. Honestly, exploration. I really like the exploration pillar. I really like presenting my players, or even when playing, like running into a problem where the answer is not obvious, and now you actually see the wheels turn and skills kind of get used a little bit more, and you can kind of feel out maybe some of the character builds a little more, get people to expand on what they are, not simply in a a murder fest or in a the face is talking and we're all standing here silently. So I really like exploration.
I have to say, when I first started and I was at not my favorite tables, it was combat because, well, and that's where all the rules are. So reading a lot of the rules, and I get excited for all these cool combat things you can do. And then I was at tables where that's all they cared about too. So that's what I liked. Now that I'm with my current table, they don't really want to learn all of the combat rules, especially now that I'm in Pathfinder, and there's a lot more. So role-playing's been a lot of fun, especially because these two are agents of pure chaos.
Did you say you have players that learn some of the rules? Because that's a foreign concept for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and it's because I made them play, so they weren't as jazzed as I was to read everything that they possibly could. They were just like, okay, well, if you're gonna make me play, then we'll play, but you're gonna have to help me a lot. But I don't have to help them when they're talking to people. I mean, one of them is a counselor. He talks to people for a living.
Yeah, I enjoy roleplay because there are so little rules, even though I know almost all of the rules off by heart at this point.
Well, okay, let's move on to the second question. Robert, roll a d20 for me.
15.
15. I apologize in advance for my fiance. Mieka asked,
God damn it.
what's the sexiest thing that can happen in the Feywild?
Ooh, in the Feywild.
I want you to know that this has been, we're going to cut this out, but this has been just like a long pause where no one has said anything because it's a strange question.
Yeah. My mind is like spinning right now because I'm like, well, hags are from the Feywild, and if that's your thing, then you're going to get a lot of it. Wish I knew more about the Feywild. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say a satyr wedding. I'm going to say a satyr wedding was going to be the thing that is going to start off, and you would think that with a satyr, satyrs, it's going to be like wild, like hardcore from the beginning, but I feel it's going to start off really, really slow, and there's going to be a real slow smolder, and then all the drugs that they laced all the food and all the drinks with will kick in real bad, and then it's just going to be, slip and slides and fur everywhere.
It's when you hear that's not incense, and then everybody's pupils just dilate.
What them horns do? Do you give a hoof job? Oh yeah, it's gonna get weird.
Oh, it already did.
Yeah. Thank you, Mieka. I bought you dinner once.
Well, and see, I wanted to go with the cop-out answer of you're not going to remember by the time it's done, because it is the Feywild after all.
Boy.
With the whole, the first thing my brain goes to is the gimmick of, oh, they take your name and you don't have it. There's going to be a lot of things swapping around in the sexiest thing in the Feywild, and you're going to walk out of it not knowing what just happened.
Oh boy.
Andri, do you have an answer?
The sexy. What was the question again?
What is the sexiest thing that can happen in the Feywild?
I mean, Robert kind of took my original answer, which was just going to be satyrs, and then just anything at the back end of that.
Yes, there would be the back end of that at the wedding.
Yeah. I could also probably running into nymphs at a pond.
Yeah,
That could probably end up being sexy.
yeah. It depends on what you
nymph,
black.
Yeah, a nymph party. Yeah, that's probably something.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fade to black moment pretty quick.
I
Yeah,
feel like
especially when you consider, if you start bringing in the Twilight Circus, the carnival one, and you start thinking of the characters in there. Oh, the sexiest thing in the Feywilds, where there was all those frog men,
Yeah.
and there were all those hags. Hmm. That
Oh,
one
boy.
is a puppet mistress. That could be fun. But yeah,
What a whopping start to the podcast.
yeah, we should have even started with one shot. We should have started with 7.
Yep, amen.
Oh, you need me to talk. I'm what they call a lightweight. 7's not for me. But I did roll a 12.
You rolled a 12. This is Mieka again, but it's a little tamer.
Okay.
Mieka asks, what does everyone think about playing a druid? Any tips?
Druids are my boyfriend's favorite class, so he plays a druid at about every option he can get. So to not step on his toes, I don't do that. I have no experience playing a druid. He's very much a nature guy. While we're sitting down to do this recording, he decided to go on a hike. He's very much about just the preserving nature, and that's how he plays his druids. He likes his animals, he likes his plants, he likes the, just camping out in the woods for his character. I don't have a lot of tips, I'm sorry.
Nice. I'm in a similar boat with Scott. My girlfriend loves druids, but my general tip would be to not be afraid to go Celtic with it, or like really like pagan druid, because the amount of bullshit you could do with that.
Do you mean like
Personally.
like old gods, evil druid?
Oh yeah. But it's not. It doesn't always not necessarily have to be evil. I mean, Celtic druids were just wise men, but at the same time they did sacrifices. But and don't be afraid to incorporate cultures, Celtic or
I'd
Nordic
be
cultures.
afraid to incorporate them because I didn't think I'd do it right. You live a lot closer to the source material than I do.
And that's very fair. I mean, being Nordic, I'm not afraid to do that, and so I mean that's totally fair. But honestly, as long as you're not taking it in a certain direction, which a lot of people have with Nordic culture, you're fine. Otherwise you're fine.
Robert, any tips for druids?
Yeah, a couple though. I guess my first one is more mechanical. Playing a druid, you are a lot less frustrated if you don't focus everything on wild shape. I see a lot of druids who, hey, my entire thing is I'm just focusing on wild shape. Wild shape is going to be my only combat mechanic. I'm not going to use it outside of anything else, and that's it. I'm going to turn into a wolf. And by level 3, they are getting fucking curb stomped. And I mean, wild shape is an amazing exploration tool. It can be a really good role-playing tool, for the social encounters, but it really does not keep up in combat. And I feel like that's one of those things where people see a druid and they see one gimmick and they stick with that gimmick, and they like, whether it's the subclass or the wild shape, they focus on that gimmick instead of playing the class as a whole. And I've seen a lot of people play a druid where they play it as kind of a super earthy, super crunchy, very friendly individual. Just, oh, nature's wonderful and nature's beautiful and everything. But nature can be fucking vicious and brutal and horrible. And so if you're sticking up for nature, you don't need to be friendly to people. And
Dave's
you
a great
can,
example of that. Yeah.
yeah. And you guys actually mentioned it earlier in one of your episodes, in your druid episode, is if you wanted to play a witch, like a witch, pick druid. That's a great class to play. Just if you want to play the evil witch in the woods, that's a fucking great class for that.
Yeah, druid is where you get your bog hag, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think a bit of what Robert said. We did a thing with one of our druids in one of our games where anything below a certain CR would be a free. He could just change as he want for exploration. Like I remember, he changed himself into a wolf because we weren't that high level at that point. That was just a free. He could just be a wolf, and that wouldn't help him in a fight, but in exploration, that would help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if changelings have the opportunity to just change, for flavor purposes at will.
Yeah.
And shifters can do it a certain number of times a day for mechanical bonuses. I see no problem with, limiting it. Maybe you have to be a small or medium creature and under the CR and go nuts, right? You're level 15. I'm not going to limit you. You already have access to all of the other shit you get, like speed boosts and movement types, like swimming or flying or whatnot. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
If you just want to be a little rat while we're in our caravan between towns, who's to care?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I honestly, when they're doing stuff like that, or like, oh, I'm going to turn into a rat and look under the floorboards, or I'm going to turn into a snake and sneak under that gazebo, or whatever. And that wasn't a euphemism, but it should be. I don't even track the wild shapes anymore. I don't even count. Okay, how many do you get a day? 5? No, this one doesn't count. I mean, this to me is just an extrapolation of your investigation check. Great job thinking outside the box.
I would say, so that they don't abuse it, I would give them a certain number of free ones per like equal to the proficiency modifier, or it lasts for 3 rounds.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Something like that. Otherwise, you're just giving them free polymorph.
I mean, when they start like bringing in flying, that's when I start limiting it. Or when they figure out, oh, if I can just fly in this one situation, you can bypass this entire encounter. Okay, well, not anymore. We're gonna. Yeah.
Of course, there were rules to it. I wasn't playing the druid, so I didn't really care for the rules. I was playing a bard that was. Well, Adam taught me a thing with this bard. I'm not going to say because we cut it out the last time. But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, there were some rules to it. I didn't care much for the rules at the time, but it was fun. It was fun to play.
You're playing the bard that's trying to figure out the sexiest thing in the Feywild, aren't you?
Hey, shh, don't out me like this, bro.
we don't kink shame. We should, but we don't.
Not in the Feywild, you don't.
They vanilla shame in the Feywild. That's
their whole shtick. They take all of their shame, they give it to the Shadowfell. That belongs over there. So Andri, roll another d20.
Yes, sir. That'll be a 9.
Elwyn asks, what is your most memorable table moment and why? And for the record, D&D table, not dancing on the table. It's a little different.
Okay. Gotcha. Let's just scratch that note out. My favorite. Okay, it probably has to be with. Hold, this is a mouthful for me. Give me a second. With my werebear barbarian, bear totem warrior. There we go. When I managed to suplex an earth elemental, that has to probably be my all-time favorite D&D table moment. It was down to the wire. I was at 1 hit point, already raging, and it was a do or die because he was in the way to freedom. So I had, I think, 2 enhanced abilities stacked on me. I know rules is written, that doesn't work, but we play rule of cool. So I had 7 different types of steroids injected in me, essentially, as a Goliath werebear barbarian totem. This is a mouthful. I'm real sorry.
You were, we get it. You were cocaine bear. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Suplexing an earth elemental is up there.
Robert, favorite or most memorable table moment?
Most memorable. So I previously said on a different one about, as a DM, I managed to take the Sun Sword off of my party and have them go running into the woods, which I thought was hilarious. But as a player, this was just fucking bonkers. Back in 3.5 days.
You could stop there. It was just fucking bonkers.
Yeah. I was playing a Reaping Mauler, which is a class dedicated toward grappling. And they had a mechanic called pin, where if you could grapple somebody and then pin them, you could kill them instantly. They just fail a check and they die. And then I had these 2 magic items that made everything so much worse. I had an orcish shot put of sizing. So I had a metal ball that I could make either pill-sized or the size of like a volleyball or a beach ball or something like that. And so I didn't even wait to do the pin thing. I'd get somebody in a grapple, force that in their mouth, and then blow their head off, which I thought was hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
And then I had there was a really weird spell that it was a spell, spellcasters would cast it on themselves, and it would give them like 6 arms and then a bunch of proficiency to unarmed and to grapple. So I had a belt that just did that all the time. So I was a 6-armed reaping mauler with this, the pill popper that I used for killing people. And
See,
so I had
that
like a
pill popper is the reason why the enlarged spell says you only get bigger if there's room.
yeah. Well, I mean, I made room. But so I had like a plus 42 to my grapple check. It was something ridiculous like that. And my party built a whole strategy around this of like digging a tiger pit, casting darkness into it. People would fall into it, and then I would find them and kill them like this big trapdoor spider. Um, and my DM got so upset with our group just power gaming our way through everything that he put, I want to say it was a gray slot against us
Jesus.
for no fucking, like out of nowhere too. Like we're defending a town from bandits, and then suddenly there's a gray slot, and it's invisible, and it's flying at will, and it's casting fireball from like 180 feet up. And so we went from a D&D party fighting bandits to a D&D party fighting an AC 130 gunship. Like, the hell do you do? So our sorcerer could get to him with Dimension Door. Our warlock could see him with his Devil's Sight. Our monk could hit him because, just being able to hit him at all, our monk had this crazy set of bonuses. And then if I could get a hold of him, I could kill him. And so they tied me to the monk by our ankles. The sorcerer dimension doored the 4 of us, the sorcerer, the warlock, the monk, and myself, up to in this guy's flight path. The warlock saw him and used telekinesis to throw his monk mauler bolos at the guy, and the monk beat his AC by 1 to grab him, and I shimmied up the rope and broke this guy's neck in midair. And then we got to feather fall down to the ground, and my DM just threw his fucking book across the room and quit the game. So
Is that how you complete D&D?
I think so. I'm sure there's
If
an
the
achievement there.
DM throws their book across the table because I can't believe you just fucking did that, you win D&D.
It was a series of unbelievable rolls too. I mean, like 18 plus on every single roll to get us into that bizarre scenario. But yeah, the flying monk mauler bolos of neck breaking is my most memorable.
Scott, what's your most memorable?
So now to be lame, because I have a lot of experience at not great tables, I don't have a lot of great memorable moments. But last night, I think, is going to be the start of what's going to climax at one of my favorite moments. My players and their circus arrived in a new town, which is the town where the evil circus is from. And last night, we put on our first show there. So naturally, we're stepping on her turf. She sends people out to ruin our whole performance. They failed at stopping it. Right as my boyfriend was set to be the main event, they picked the order. He was the main event. The bad guys cast darkness on the stage right during his performance. The whole circus was categorized as a failure for the subsystem. My boyfriend's going to enter his evil era as he is extremely angry and wants his revenge now. So we're starting what's going to end up as one of my favorite table moments, and I'm extremely, like, literally his brother cast a spell to try to stop it, and I met the DC on it.
Yeah.
And part of me just wanted to be the DM and fudge the roll and be like, no, you guys are the big heroes. But I said, you know what? The dice have spoken, and this is going to turn into a moment. Because the evil ringleader's the big bad of this book already.
That's some Carrie shit right there. That's going to be that's when the movie gets good.
We knocked out all of the evil guys that came to infiltrate our circus, and I stopped right there. We started off with session 0 saying, oh, we don't like explicit torture. I'm gonna have to remind him that next time we play
I was just about to say, I was just about to say that exact thing of, okay, we have to start this round off with the torture rules. Okay.
Exactly. Although fortunately the table's me, him, and his brother, so we all very much so know kind of what each other are capable, like comfortable with, and we know how mad he is. I mean, his backstory is he left this evil circus because they were horribly mistreating their animals. And then for them to come in on our first circus and just completely ruin specifically his performance.
This is where you go from villain to arch villain in one action economy.
Literally, I'm like, okay, she's the big bad of the book. This is the end of chapter 1.
Okay.
You guys have like 2 or 3 more levels till you're ready to fight her.
Well, this is also where you turned it into like a legitimate like pro wrestling thing. Okay, they fucked with our performance, and now the word gets out. We're gonna fuck with their performance.
He's
and
trying to decide if he
drum
wants
up
to
the crowd.
go mafia and send a hand to them, or if he wants to go Ted Kaczynski, considering my character, my DMPC is an alchemist.
My God.
I don't know what he's gonna decide on, but it's gonna be, I have to read the entire book now. I can't just do chapter by chapter. He's gonna throw everything out the window.
Good
Well,
luck.
if they go Ted Kaczynski, I'm not sure they've got rules for tanning human leather into lampshades, but that was Ed Gein, I guess.
Honestly, it's Pathfinder, so they probably do.
Yeah. All right. Before we go any further down the serial killers, Robert, why don't we roll another d20?
That is a 7, a mighty 7.
Tyler says, on a standard character sheet, what is, in your opinion, a piece of information that's usually inconsequential but could be of more significant importance with a little creative thinking?
I want to take the cheap answer and say the equipment list.
Yeah, I mean that's always the obvious answer.
That's always the obvious. I don't want to say flaws and bonds because I think people focus way too much on that when they're making their character and they don't like let the character grow. I'm going to say passive perception. I'm going to say that's a something that as a DM I don't really consider a lot, and that if I paid more attention to, especially with that one character that has the 22 or the 24 passive perception because they took the right feats, even though the person in real life has a passive perception of 3, and you could really use that to kind of drive internal role play between the characters. If you're really paying attention and you've got it written out in your notes of, hey, in this scene with a passive perception of 10 they see this, 13 they see that, 15 they see that, and you start giving out those little pieces of information, and you can kind of ninja note it so that no one's just like, okay, I tell them all that, oh, okay. I think you can really kind of expand that internal role play a lot. And it also, just as a DM, it's good to constantly be aware of that because when it pops up, it usually is the oh, they figured out my trap that I've been waiting 3 fucking sessions to spring on them because they could see it.
One of the things that I used to do is not passive perception, but actual perception, just to kind of build on that. When I had a bunch of new players at the table who were kind of iffy on role playing, they didn't really know each other that well. We needed to build the party cohesion. I'd make them roll perception every time that they traveled. And then if they rolled high enough, I would then go like clockwise around the table and be like, okay, Dan rolled 17. So he sees something that he probably isn't supposed to see. Megan, he notices something about you that you're not necessarily keeping hidden, but you're not broadcasting to the world. What would that thing be that he sees? And it got them all thinking about the characters a little bit more, and then interacting with each other, and then keeping each other's secrets. And it built a party very quickly in like 3 sessions.
I love that. I'm stealing it, except I'm
that's a
playing
great
with my boyfriend and his twin brother, so you don't get more cohesion than twins.
Fair. Scott, what's the thing on the character sheet? I know Pathfinder character sheets are a little bit different, but it's essentially the same deal.
As Robert was talking, I was flipping through one of my D&D character sheets because the first thing when you were like, oh, what's inconsequential? My brain went dark vision. And then oh gosh, because everyone has it, except Pathfinder. I'm the only one who has it. They all have low light vision. The one thing that I think is kind of inconsequential but could be utilized a little better for my table is the little section there that says notes.
That little section says
Okay,
notes,
well,
but
that's the right answer. That's the correct answer.
It's the little section that says notes.
Shots are being fired.
Oh gosh. So we have hero points, which are essentially inspiration. You start every session with a hero point. My boyfriend always cooks dinner, so I give him an extra hero point, and I make his brother give the recap, and I give him an extra hero point for it. And some weeks I give half of the recap.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but you gave me an idea with the hero point and the inspiration. And I know that a typical one is like, okay, whoever can do best recap or whatever. And talking about, character sheets and inconsequential things, go around the room and like pick a person out and say, okay, you used grapple last time. Tell me the grapple rules. And then if they can remember the rule, get them to try and remember the rules that way. And then they're okay, here's your inspiration. Yeah,
that'd be smart. Except my players just stick with the same 3 actions they know. I'm the one who had to go and be like, I'm going to grapple this person. I'm going to trip them. I mean, we're doing dual class, so you have 2 classes for each character. So when he's playing a druid and a gunslinger, usually he just commands his little alligator and shoots. I'm a barbarian and an alchemist. The 2 things you wouldn't think would mix. But I'm more of the medic alchemist. I don't like to blow things up. I have more potions than you'll need to drink in a day. And then I hit things hard. So I like to try to mix it up. And then, what does my roommate do? A whole lot of a little of everything. The one spell that works the best for us is a cantrip he casts. And I kind of hate that it just is the best spell we've ever had, is a cantrip.
That's warlock vibes.
Yeah. Except he's playing a rogue and a psychic. And the psychic is the closest you're going to get in Pathfinder to the warlock of it being the cantrip caster. But that's like saying I just cast Eldritch Blast, but I didn't take Agonizing Blast because he hasn't looked into amping his cantrips yet.
Oh, boo.
Maybe if he listens to this, he'll be like, what's amping? And he'll look into his class a little harder.
But I mean, that goes back to what Robert was saying, though. If you are encouraging people to look up the rules, that may expand their horizons a little bit too.
Yeah. So I made the mistake of giving newer players too many options, and now they're drowning in options, and they don't know what all of their options do. But it's our first long-term campaign in the system. You make mistakes, you learn, you move on.
Fair. Andri?
Can I get the phrasing of the question again?
What is, in your opinion, a piece of information that is usually inconsequential but could be of more significance with a little creative thinking on the character sheet?
Okay. So I was just seeing if I remembered correctly. I think the inspiration thing itself, because there's at the top, just beneath the name, there's an inspiration thing. I'm pretty sure this is a standard D&D sheet.
Yeah.
In our game, we do something very similar to what Robert described. I thought he was going to steal it from me. I was going to get real mad, but he didn't, so it's all good. We go around the table and we share our favorite moments and why. Like for example, if I got I'll explain the rules also. We have inspiration points. If you get 3, you get an inspiration. That's 1 reroll, and you just have that until you use it. But you can't have more than 1, so you have to be careful how to use it. But for example, my favorite moment was when I suplexed an earth elemental, and that got me a hero point. My computer is dying. Fuck, hold on. God damn it. All right, saved it.
Yeah.
I almost expected the cursing to be in Icelandic, I'm not gonna lie.
So my girlfriend is half British. I speak English a lot, so that's why.
I mean, it's all I've heard you speak, so I assumed you did pretty often because your English is very, very good.
Well, I've known her for 12 years, so I'd hope so. But anyway, so I have now 1 out of 3 inspiration points, and we go around the table. Everybody gives inspiration points, and then we cross the thing. We have inspiration. I think that could be utilized more, because when you have bardic inspiration, that's what that's meant for, I think. But you don't have bardic inspiration for longer than 10 minutes because it only lasts 10 minutes. So why cross it out? Why cross it in when you know you're going to use it in this combat or this role anyway? So we do that. So I think the inspiration could be used a lot more with at least this type, like hero points, or as we've been over.
I think that's a really, really good answer, especially because, as a DM, thinking about constantly, like, not just how to punish your players for the stupid thing they did, but how to reward them for playing well, I think is something. I know I forget it a lot because I'm a curmudgeon, but yeah, I think that's a really good answer of like keeping in mind how to reward your players in a way that's not that weapon or spell or whatever, but it's something that's tangible and useful, but not overpowered.
The other thing to point out too, and I had great success with this at my table, was I would announce, depending on how epic the session was, if they all sat around in a tavern the whole time, I'd say D4. If they killed a major lieutenant, at a set piece battle, then it would be a D10. But I would say, all right, this is what it is. Everybody nominate someone for doing something cool, and then they get to write down, D4, D8, D10, whatever, right? And when that would happen, they would have to be specific about, I really liked when you did this, or when it went poorly, you really fucked up trying to climb over that wall, wasted 15 minutes in game trying to justify other ways on how to use a rope, you moron. But it wasn't just you get a random D8, it's you get a D8 for athletics checks, so that next time you're able to move forward. Or if it was rule of cool, hey, you did something really awesome, that attack was rad with your daggers, you get to add a D8 to hit with a dagger, right? Yeah. So
you get a D8 to climb a wall, so when you fail with that, we'll laugh even harder.
Yeah, and the idea with this is that it wouldn't let it stack, right? So that if you didn't end up using your inspiration die, you could hold it for 4 or 5 sessions, right? Because it's not like my attack, I'm going to roll 7 dice to hit, because it's this one is for sleight of hand, this one is for wisdom saves, this one is for survival checks, right? Like, and it would be a little bit different, and so it very rarely stacked, or people very rarely got more than one thing at a time, but it made you get to do epic things and also fill in the gaps where you're not good at shit, but sometimes need to be, right? For those idiots that never take perception as a skill.
That made me think of this, and I'm sure this is bordering on some spell out there, but when we think about inspiration, just the general concept of it, as D&D, as DMs, somebody does something cool or amazing or thoughtful or great, and we say, good job, and we give them an inspiration, when in reality, when somebody does something really cool or amazing or, heroic, it's inspiring to the observers around them. So I think I'm going to try and start introducing in my games a thing where, like, if somebody does something amazing, I'm going to give an inspiration point to all of the people in his party who saw him or her do that thing. And I'm only going to let it last like maybe 1 or 2 turns. It's that surge of morale and momentum, but it's just a different way to, I'm trying to cogitate the concept in my brain right now.
Well.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I would give them an option as well. Like, for the next 2-3 rounds, you can either re-roll a D20 or add a D8 to any D20 roll. Just to let them, because it'll be different for those. I'm just thinking about a wizard, for example, or a bard. A lot of their shit is spell save DCs. They're not rolling D20s in the next 2 minutes. So
add a D8 to your spell save DC.
Yeah.
Or
oh boy.
Or roll an extra damage die.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Anyway, that was, who did I ask that? That was Robert, I think. Scott, roll a D20.
16.
16. Dave. Fuck.
Nice question, Dave.
Dave asks, does the ability score go in the little box on the character sheet, or is it for the modifier?
Oh boy.
I
Oh,
have
boy.
a cop out for this. In the Pathfinder remaster, we're getting rid of the ability score numbers because that's something D&D does. So we just go with the modifiers of the plus whatevers. So there's no need for a big box. There's no need for a little box. My strength and my intelligence are both +4. I don't really care what actual number that would be for you guys. I'm just +4 for each of them.
That's a great answer. I am a little number in the big box because that's the number I'm going to be using the most. So I need to look at it at a quick glance because I am blind.
But also, like, what is the actual number used for ever?
Lots of shit. Lots and lots of shit. For example, stat damage, right?
Okay, well then put it in the little box. You'll need the you'll need the small number more.
I reference. See, here's the damn thing, though. All right, never mind. It's not me answering questions. Robert, go ahead.
The correct answer is you put them both in the big box. You put the stat slash the modifier, and you do it in fucking pen because you've committed. And then when you got to go back and change it, you scratch that shit out and write it again next to it.
You hit level 4 and then you write over it in Sharpie this time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I use digital, so it just does it digitally how it does it. I don't complain.
I mean, I'm a DM. I just make up the numbers.
Yeah,
Stat blocks and sheets. Yeah.
yeah. Not my episode. Not
Oh my
my
gosh, I did the circus last night, and we did one of the performers Adam and I made, and I forgot to write all of their numbers. So I literally just at the start I said, you know what, sure, this is gonna be the number, and I forgot it like 2 or 3 times throughout the show.
I can't. I think I still have those notes. I'll flip them to you afterwards, Scott. If you
No,
remind me.
I went through our Discord messages and I remember telling you in the episode, oh, don't worry about the numbers. I'll decide the numbers. And then I
Okay.
forgot what I decided last time, because last time we did it was February.
Yep. Good times. Andri, it's your turn to roll again.
Yes, sir. That'll be a 4.
Elwin asks, what did a DM or other PC do to raise the intensity level?
Okay. Okay. I think. Ooh, okay. Just this. Are we? Okay. This is a loaded question, I think. I think in at least what first came to mind. I'll just go with that. We were escorting a group of gem folk, just people that were gems, and they didn't trust us at all, but we had started finally getting some ground on it. Then they got attacked. One of the kids was stolen. We, of course, tried to save the kid. In the process of trying to save the kid, I want to say he was a ranger. No, he was a fighter with a bow and arrow. No, he was a ranger. He had a companion. He was just a better ranger. Sorry. He then tried to shoot the horse in a lapse of judgment of the player. He has admitted this. He knows this. This is not me throwing him under the bus, I swear. He shoots the horse where the kid is on, and the horse topples over itself, and it kills the rider and the kid. And now all eyes are on us because he just killed someone. And that really put a dent in the relationship we were building with these gemborn, I believe they were called. We did manage to revive the kid, but the damage had been done.
Yeah.
So that really pushed the intensity up because that was this player's second character. And the reason why it's a second one is because the first one also raised the intensity level. So he had to leave. And we managed to make this work for at least, I think, 4 more sessions before everything burned to the ground. And we quitted the campaign because the characters did not like each other enough. Now we've started again. Characters like each other. It's all fine and dandy now. But still, one of my this is where I was my cocaine bear. But it also didn't help. We had a wild surge sorcerer or wild magic sorcerer who, let's just say, had a different wild magic table. It was a lot more explosive.
Well, if you're gonna play a sorcerer, you might as well blow shit up, right?
Yeah, but so the intensity was raised at the end of this near the end of this campaign, and that's the one that sticks out at least.
Robert.
I had a DM in a Storm King's Thunder game where we were delivering the news to a sheriff in some town that his sister had died in a giant attack, I think it was. Would make sense for that campaign. And the DM actually started crying, like tears running down their face, sobbing hard to get through their sentences, as though they had just actually received the news. And they like would not let us out of that situation. Kept asking questions, kept pausing to, to break down and like really, I guess, tapped into some actual deep personal shit. But yeah, it wasn't like intense and like the, oh, my blood is pounding and all this, but it was intense in the like, oh man, I'm watching another adult cry right now, and this is really, really rough, and they're trying to fight through it, and we're trying to get through this, and it would feel really bad to just skim over this because they've clearly worked on this. So okay, we're all in here together. But
So this
yeah,
wasn't
that
part of
was
the bit, right? Like he was legit upset.
no, it was part of the bit, but I guess
Okay.
they tapped into like some actual like they did that whole actor like I'm gonna draw on a personal experience. And yeah, they were just in tears, broken voice, but stayed in character, would not come out of character the entire time. And it was just like, okay, I know we're in a game where we're killing giants and shit. This is one of the most memorable, what could have been a one-line throwaway scene of we go tell the sheriff about his sister's death. Okay, he takes it poorly and he gives you the map to wherever. No, we're playing this out, and oh yeah, this is everybody needs to take a minute after this. Like, can we call a bathroom break real quick? Thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Scott?
Well, I already shared my story. It was because it was what, an NPC upping the intensity?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was them completely trashing our circus performance. It's gonna get it's the intensity's at the level of I have to prep this entire book because they're gonna try to throw it out the window on me.
I find like every Curse of Strahd campaign has a point where that happens, where Strahd is dicking about for a little while, and then the players do something that they fucking shouldn't, and the DM says, "All right, I got to read the whole fucking book now." God damn it!
Yep.
Fortunately, the entire adventure path of levels 1 to 20 is broken up into 6 books. So this book is like levels 5 to 8 or something like that. So I don't have to read as much, but I'm going to have to read 3 chapters to figure out what's going to happen now.
Yeah, fair. That was Andri. Robert, give me a D20 roll.
That would be a 1. So looking forward to the next Feywild sex-based question.
No, I just put Brad as a nat 1 because
okay.
Fuck you, Brad.
Fair enough.
Yeah, although to be fair, he's also the nat 20. So Brad
Feast or
asks,
famine with Brad.
what about PCs that are secret bad guys? Any tips?
Don't. That's my tip is fucking don't do that. I mean, if I were to do a campaign where I had a PC that was a secret bad guy, the trick would be they are all the secret bad guy for different reasons. And I would have them all in on it so that they all can enjoy those moments and we can do all that off-screen discussion. But anytime I see a situation where the PC is a secret bad guy, that typically means they are going to, in some way, shape, or form, betray the party. And now you've got a main character. And D&D is not about main characters. Now you've got a violation of trust with the rest of your players, and you're just going to have a whole lot of problems there. So I would set it up where every single one of you is actually the secret bad guy who's trying to do something, just to see how that plays out, because that could be fun. Or I would only do it for like a one shot. I would not do it for a campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. That would end poorly. Well, and also like, okay, let's just say you do pull the trigger and you have the secret bad guy. The second that mask is dropped, they don't have their character anymore, and they have to make a new character to fight their old character. I'm not going to have you being the revealed bad guy traipsing around with this party. Also, I'm going to have to completely rewrite your character because things are not balanced for player versus player. It's going to be a lot of work for payoff only if all of the stars align.
Where?
Yeah, I generally agree with both of you. if my only thing for it, I wouldn't do a bad guy. With my cocaine bear, if I rolled below a certain number, I would go into what we call the blood rage, and I would attack the closest thing to me. That was the closest thing we had to a secret bad guy, but that is the furthest I would go with a player, as a player and with a player. I would not make. The most I would do is make an NPC the revealed bad guy, and that's broken trust. That'll devastate. But a play like Scott said, that's main character. I've had my share of main character syndromes players. It's not fun.
I left a campaign because of that.
Yeah,
And
sorry, go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say, I think, Adam, you mentioned that you played a character that did that. Then didn't that character try to be the bad guy for the next campaign? Or the one you took over?
Yeah, the idea was that Dan had a table full of people. Brad and Tyler were there, but Brad was relatively new to D&D. Tyler was the only other experienced player, but there were 7 players at the table. So Dan invited me to come join that group to just kind of be second DM, to sit opposite for all of the people that need help doing the math and stuff, or what do I do on my turn. Dan doesn't have to facilitate that. I could do that while he's running the story and everything else as people have questions. So, but I wanted to have a memorable character, and I immediately built a halfling gloomstalker, while the rest of them are champion fighter, and I'm a divination wizard. Like, they were just not maximized, right? And I never get to be a player, so I did that. And then I turned to Dan halfway through, and I'm like, make me the bad guy. These guys are starting at the hang of it. At level 5, we're done all the tier 1 shit. Let me betray everybody and then leave the table to remove myself from the action economy, make things roll a little bit smoother, and they will all have a memorable person to hate. Unfortunately, I killed half of the characters. The good news was I killed the most experienced players, or player characters, right? So Tyler and Brad and one of the guy had their characters die, but they had all played before. All the really green noobs, just by happenstance, survived. And so I left, and at the same time, Dan handed that campaign off to Brad. So Brad took my character sheet and said, all right, it's a revenge story now. And it galvanized everybody until I think that game fizzled out months and months later. So it gave them something to focus on.
I could see that working, where the PC that was the secret bad guy leaves the table entirely.
Yeah.
That I could see that working, or I could even see it working of, like, if you do it in the first 3 or 4 sessions, like before level 3 or whatever, the bad guy is revealed and then they're out of there so that they don't know all of the party's strategies and techniques between levels 3 and 12, so that maybe they can still be surprised. I got it, but it's those, hey, it's 3 sessions before the end, and it turns out this guy's the bad guy, and he's got all the fucking secret intel on your party. And
then he leaves with half your loot.
He leaves with half your loot. He's poisoned 2 of the other players. He's killed the one in their sleep. Haha, I win. Okay, but it's not about winning.
Yeah. The only other time that I think that I would ever do this, because you bring it up, like, don't do this. My favorite thing that I would like to throw out there is, sometimes I like to hand out secrets where I will write it on a piece of paper and hand across the table to people. And they're all long, right? They're all 7 or 8 sentences to make it so that they take a second to read it all. They have context. They understand. There shouldn't be questions. But everyone else at the table gets to watch them read for 30 seconds, which is intimidating. 30 seconds is a long time. However, hand out a long paragraph about at what point they, as a doppelganger, infiltrated the party, and then hand it out to every player with a different infiltration point, but they're all doppelgangers, and they all have a mission to kill the others. So
see, that's fantastic, and it's you avoid a little bit the main character syndrome, because the DM is telling. It's not, oh, the DM and I sat down and we developed an entire campaign around the fact that one of the players actually was Strahd the whole time.
Yeah, and I foresee it going 2 ways, right? Like, they either start picking each other off, right? And then when someone dies, they become a dead doppelganger, and everyone's like, oh. And so everyone will think, oh shit, that was the other one, right? But nobody realizes that everybody is. Or they eventually just end up revealing it, and everyone's like, well, wait a minute, I'm also a doppelganger. Hey, me too. and then they fucking infiltrate a kingdom together. Like that's the campaign of their doppelgangers, right? So
I believe that was called Battlestar Galactica.
fair. And now I have All Along the Watchtower stuck in my head. So who rolled that? I think that was Robert.
Rob, yeah.
Scott, give me D20 roll.
7.
Kyle asks, what's your favorite book? Either D&D related or not.
Is this when I out myself as not reading?
Well, everybody has a favorite book, even if you haven't read it in years, right?
That's fair. Oh, yes. The favorite book I read in high school was Things Fall Apart by, I'm not saying that guy's name because I'm gonna butcher all of it. It made me think. I liked it. Changed the way I thought about things.
That's Andri next.
Yeah, I'm looking over because I don't have time to read, so I listen to audiobooks.
Fair.
But that is a book, so come at me, internet, fuck you. It has to be, honestly, it's I don't know if you guys, you've probably heard of this, Adam. Death Troopers in Star Wars Legends. It's the stormtroopers become undead. I think it's a fantastic book. But I think it has to be tied with the first Game of Thrones book, honestly, with my favorite, because that book is also fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, it was. No comment.
Thief of Time by Terry Pratchett with Snow Crash by Stevenson, close second.
Why?
Well, Terry Pratchett, if you have not read his Discworld series, he writes satirical high fantasy, but the people in it are actually believable. They're not all these pure noble beings from Gondor or these one-dimensional, no facets people. The individuals he writes are real, and when you are reading about them, you say to yourself, "Oh, okay, somebody else gets it. Somebody else gets what I'm feeling, and I don't feel alone." And that's kind of the whole point of art. And Thief of Time is a great, hey, we're going to stop the end of the world. The bad guys are going to win, and they fail, and they have to fix it. And it's just amazing the way he does that. He introduced, the 5 horsemen, not the 4, the 5 are main characters in his books, and he writes a whole series of books about death as a character himself, and he does a fascinating job of portraying both the loneliness and his inability to understand humans. And then for Snow Crash, I mean, just the if you've never read Snow Crash, the main character's name is Hero Protagonist, and he is the world's greatest swordsman, pizza delivery guy, and hacker all in one. And then that's on one side where it's all this ridiculousness about the late 90s, early 2000s America following the collapse of America, where now you have franchise nations and, inflation's run amok and everything's gone crazy on one side. And then on the other side is a very fascinating discussion about neurolinguistics and what the Tower of Babel actually was and hacking the human brain. So just like the best damn sci-fi conceptually you can find.
I'm sorry, I'm still caught up on the 5 horsemen. It's like famine, pestilence, war, death, and Trevor. Like
Ronnie. His name is Ronald, but he goes by Ronnie.
Of course.
Sorry,
Terry Pratchett.
spoilers.
Like I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, spoilers for everybody who's going to read that book that I think is 20 years old now. His name is Ronald.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 23 years old. I just looked it up because I thought I'd read it before. I haven't.
You should. Fantastic. Well, you should listen to it. Fantastic.
Yeah, well, I have one of the Terry Pratchett books that I mean to read. I just don't have time to read.
Well, you've got one of the, I think, 45, 44 in that series. So,
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Andri, give me a D20 roll.
Yes, sir. 13.
13. Sean asks, what host would you invite to your table? Pick your favorite, stroke their ego, hurt their feelings.
The fuck does that mean? Which host would I invite to the table?
Yeah, what host would you invite to your table?
I don't know.
And don't say me because I'm on this episode.
I don't know. Should I invite any of you guys? I just hear nightmare stories from you. I don't know if I should invite anybody. Honestly, probably Terry.
Yeah, why?
You stole mine.
Yeah, fuck you, Robert. No, I don't know. I just his vibe that I get off his podcast. He seems chill. I don't know if he actually is, or it's the ADHD that he might have that's calling to me. Probably for his tactical mind, because there is like at my new group that I'm making, there's not going to be a lot of tactics. But yeah, I think Terry.
Fair. Robert.
I mean, yeah, it's Terry for me as well. I feel like he would challenge me as a dungeon master because you've mentioned that he does the whole like every person you put in front of him, oh, what's your name? Now tell me about you. And you've got to kind of delve into it, but also the comment was to stroke the ego and hurt.
Or hurt.
Or hurt.
Or
Well,
hurt.
no, I'm going with and. I'm gonna do both. Because
I will
Terry
also
feels
do
like a guy who you've mentioned before, he really can get into the role play. He can be really, really deep in the role play, and he wants to be hurt. And part of me wants to say, no, you don't. Let me show you why not. And then he seems,
if you want to fuck with Terry, you praise him and support him.
and that's what I was going to say is I get the strong feeling from Terry because I've met a lot of guys like him in the military where it was like they kind of come off as if they've got an ego. They kind of come off as if they're a little flashy. And then you actually start praising them and you're genuine. You look them in the eyes and say, no, man, you're doing a really good job. And I just want to tell you that I know it's weird to say this, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of who you are and what you've done. And then you fucking watch them crumble.
Yeah,
and
you
then
make
they
Terry cry.
yeah, like that. But in all honesty, I feel like I would say that to Terry. He seems like a really good guy. So yeah.
And I'm not throwing him under the bus. That's
Yeah.
about half of the people. Dave would turn beet red and leave the room. Like that's
Right.
that's half the people that I know. So
So
Scott.
I would, out of anyone I could invite, it'd have to be one of the girlies. That my table is a sausage fest right now. But we're all a little gay, some more than others, and by some I mean I'm extremely. So it's not gonna be like one of those super awkward moments, but
I hope your
it's
boyfriend
just,
is a little too, but that's just me.
you know, yes. It's a more of a spectrum though, and well, he's just about as damn gay as I am. His brother less so, but no, I need the female voices on the table.
Okay, but pick one.
But pick one. Probably. Okay, I'm torn between Megan or Peps. I'll go with Megan because she says talk to your kobolds, and she would fit in very well with my table because that's what they want to do. They want to talk to my kobolds. They got really mad because my last session, my DMPC killed a monster who, to be fair, was going to kidnap, torture, and kill one of our performers if we didn't stop him. But he escaped from the evil circus. And when they found that out from the brand on his arm from his corpse, they almost started crying because they didn't get to talk to him. They were a little upset about that. So I need a female voice in my table, and Megan's gonna fit in with the I want to talk to everything, partially to fuck with me, but my players do that already.
Fair.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
I think she'd probably fit at your table really well. All right. It is time to re-roll initiative because that's been 10 questions.
Oh my. I'm not swapping out a D20.
I got a 4, so
So
Good
you'll be
luck to
going
everybody.
first, probably. Yeah.
there's a very good
No,
judging by the
I
show.
got a
Good chance.
10.
Mm.
Andre?
I got an 11.
Gagged me a little.
All right. Andre still going first, and Scott and Robert swapped places. So
All right.
Andre, give me a D20 roll.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Ooh, that is a 19.
Peps asks, would you rather be cool or be a nerd?
A nerd.
Why?
Why? Because it's way cooler to be a nerd. Are you kidding me? Do you see all these dragons I have in my office, my guy? Look at all these dragons. Look at all these books. Look at all this Lego.
I love
It's
how
way cooler to be a
Peps
nerd.
asks the question and
Yeah.
you say, look at all the dragons I have.
See, I'm on a cool list I'm at Pep's cool list now because I have dragons. See, it's all calculated. No, I mean, I'd much rather be a nerd because I wouldn't say I've been cool, but I've hung out with the typical cool people. Some of them are fucking boring. They're bland as hell. Okay, they're just bland as hell. I can't talk for hours with them about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings and theories and this and that about shows that have come out. I can talk to nerds for hours.
I mean,
It's
you're
way
literally
more fun
doing it
being
right
a nerd.
now.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
read the room there. We're on this episode because we are the highest tier of the Patreon for a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
We are the
That
Greatwyrm
sounds pretty
Council.
cool to me.
My original answer was going to ask a question. Why are those two mutually exclusive?
I want you to know this was the first question that Peps asked, and it was before this episode was even an inkling in our brains, and she just was trying to fuck up Dan, Terry, and I like 2 years ago. So,
But no, I mean, I feel like by being those are two different categories because cool is of course going to be subjective, and within being a nerd, there is room to be cool. So if I had to point blank choose one or the other, it's gonna be nerd because there's substance that comes with it.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah, I'm gonna also agree nerd, but I'm gonna say it's because what is cool changes a lot, and I'm lazy and I don't feel like fucking keeping up with every single facet of, oh, this is what's in this week, and oh, that's what's on fleek this week, and oh, that's what skibbity toilets. I don't know what those words mean, and I don't want to fucking know what they mean, and it is exhausting to try and do that.
I'm
So
sorry, don't you
it's-
have like a child or something?
Yeah,
Just
he's
wait.
13 months old. So, and he is going to be deep in the nerd culture. He better just keep loving dinosaurs forever because I can talk to him about dinosaurs. But
Hey, there's hope. When I started dating my boyfriend, he was very glad that now that he was in a relationship, he can get dinosaur bed sheets.
well,
Fucking amen.
he had to wait for I usually find that when I'm not in a relationship, I can do that kind of thing.
Well, his rationale was you can't bring someone over and have dinosaur bed sheets.
Oh,
Why
he's
not?
bringing the wrong people.
Why not?
Yeah, but
I agree. He is wrong on that,
But-
but
I'll throw this for the world of cool. I'm not sure about the world of cool, but not as sure. I'm willing to bet that in the world of cool, you don't find as much deep toxicity as you do in some of the nerd minds. Like it gets pretty bad, you know, in the crust, if you will. And sometimes maybe it's like, maybe I just want to be cool and not care about this shit instead of at 3 o'clock in the morning arguing with somebody on the internet about something because I've, feel my nerd cred challenged.
I feel I'm inclined to disagree with you a little bit, Robert. I think there is toxicity wherever you go, personally. But at the same time, I do agree with you. Nerd toxicity can go deep.
Yeah, yeah. And that cool guy who's toxic at you, he's keying your car. He's not hacking your fucking IP address and getting you swatted. Like,
Yeah,
there's a difference right there.
very true. Luckily for me, living in this peaceful country, it would literally have to come from me. Like I would have had to shoot a shotgun at somebody for a SWAT team to come at me.
Who did that? That was Andri.
Yes.
Scott.
well, if I can roll my d20 in the dice bin, a Thor.
Adam asks, see, I wasn't expecting to be on this episode originally, so I asked a bunch of questions. Adam asks, what's your favorite series or miniseries on It's a Mimic and why?
Eberron. It's what got me hooked on the podcast. Eberron is my favorite. Not the problem with Faerun is, and like the Forgotten Realms, is there's too much lore, and I can't just pick up one book and learn what I need to learn. And that's one thing I liked about Eberron. And you guys were the only ones that covered Eberron very in depth. So it got me hooked onto the podcast that way. That's why Dave and I sat down and nerded out about it.
There's actually by the time that that this episode comes out, there will have been your latest Metallic Greatwyrm episode, which is just you and Dave and I chatting about Eberron for 20 questions. So
Yeah, I listened to the first Eberron episode you dropped, last week? And you said that I did that, but you didn't really know what I said because you hadn't edited it. And I went, how rude. Rude. You didn't
Yep.
edit me first?
oh, Scott, I will edit you more then.
It's fine.
You will be edited. Robert.
The Undead series, I think, is a really good one. I love how they bring in a lot of the real world lore. I love how they expand on a lot of the how to bring that into the monsters, and just the female hosts just seem to have so much damn fun with it. Not just fun with it, but also the fun of being grossed out by it.
It is low key the only series that I will not give anyone else to edit. We've got a handful of people helping with editing, like Kyle and Brad and Tyler and Dan, and we got a new guy, Steve, coming on, who he did the Legend of the Five Rings with Roman and Megan. And so we've got all these editors, and they all take different bits and pieces based on what's coming up next and how overloaded my editing slate is. But no one's allowed to do the undead. I will stay up until 3 a.m. to edit those myself, because hearing the raw, uncut shit is the best fucking thing in my life right now.
With a little bit of whispers from Megan's mic.
Oh yeah, I owe you guys more creepy haunted whispers.
Let's go.
Yeah,
It does go sound friendly to me, so
yeah, I'll look that up when we're done recording. Andri, what's your favorite series?
It has to be Deep Darker Radiance. Honestly, I know it's like that's like old now at this point, but I regularly listen to it because, especially in the winter when I get the Northern Lights up here almost every single night.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned on the Discord, but I once listened to it in a hammock in the dead of winter under the bare sky. Almost, there were trees, and I had to go inside, not because I was scared. I want to preface this, but because it started raining. Because Iceland's weather is, it has a personality disorder. Let's put it that way. No, literally, I was tempted to give you guys a picture. In a span of 5 minutes, if there was sun, raining, and hail.
I have behind me, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. That right there is fan art that was done by a
My!
that is pretty
Deep Dark
cool.
of Radiance right there.
That is so
That's
cool.
I love it.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
So you can't really see because there's the reflection of the window there, but it's the 5 characters in silhouette in the foreground, a bunch of crows in the sky with the red glow, and then actual radiance, the town there. So
Andri,
That's
I'm
so
with you, man.
cool.
I listen about every 4 months, every 3-4 months. I'll give it another
I
listen.
also love just the Call of Cthulhu game. I don't play nearly as much as I should, but I'm playing one in the dead of winter soon. Well, when winter rolls around, I suppose. But yeah, Deep Dark Radiance, my favorite miniseries.
that's rad. That's very cool. Dan fucking knocked it out of the park with that one. I mean,
Absolutely.
it nearly killed him, but he knocked it out of the park on that. And I nearly killed him, but let me see. That was Scott that rolled that. Robert, give me D20 roll.
20.
20. Brad.
Hello, Brad.
Which host would come out on top in a free-for-all cage match, and why is it Megan?
Well, okay, one, I was going to say Megan, and it's two because I know Megan is the person who routinely trains in martial arts. I think the last time I spoke to her, she was doing, this was months ago, she was stranded in Japan because she'd been doing some sort of martial arts training or tournament over there, and a typhoon hit.
Yeah.
So I would say Megan. She also, I believe, has a fear aura. She actually she radiates fear for the other hosts.
It's a eyeball thing.
It's an eyeball thing.
It's a gaze that she hits you with, and you pee.
It's a gaze.
Yeah.
Damn.
And this is not a besmirchment in any way, shape, or form. I feel like if she ever saw the tide going against her, a weapon would come out that was unexpected.
Boot knife.
Boot knife.
Yeah. Boot knife, trench knife, something. Yeah, but yeah.
Andri, who would win in a cage match?
I would also say Megan, but I think Terry has a shot, just being ex-military.
Yeah.
But I it's probably Megan because of the reasons Robert said.
Yeah, but didn't she get him to cut his hair?
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, that's some Samson shit right there. That's you know.
Well, actually, I think she just turned to him and said, "Cut yourself," and then he went and got a haircut. So,
Woof.
so Scott,
Okay, so yes, we all know it's Megan. They have listed it, but I will mention the runner-up will be Mieka because my guy, are you gonna let them beat up your wife like that?
I don't need to defend her. She's a fucking demon.
She is her own woman, goddammit.
I'm gonna
She's
say
a-
all of the girlies on the podcast are gonna finish up top.
Yeah, because the rest of the guys are gonna be too busy killing each other.
Oh no,
Me-
they'll do it on their own.
Mieka's a Marylander. She's gonna fight dirty from the fucking outset. I mean, it's gonna be bad.
Oh yeah, thumbs in the eyes. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's not going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Yikes!
No, it's gonna be tire iron in the parking lot before the match starts. I mean, it's gonna be that kind of.
She will
Fight
be
with no
sitting.
kneecaps.
She will be sitting in her car across the parking lot doing her nails as you start your ignition and blow up. That is Mieka. So,
It's a great way to win the cage match.
yeah.
Well, and Mieka and Megan are not gonna fight. They'll just split the title. I think they'd be okay with that.
Let me tell you, there are some real like Dave Hunt's. Sean's trained in martial arts, although I don't know how long ago that was. Kyle he's just a mystery man. Like I know that he can hold his own and shit, but Casey's probably the most vindictive person on the podcast. She's got a mean streak, just a little bit of evil that comes through in the undead episodes. Pretty sure Elwyn has straight up broken a man and left him in a ditch. There are some real scary people, and then there's the rest of us. And
Dan just makes furniture. He's not making it past round one.
Dan has actually started playing hockey. And so he's thrown his weight around a little bit. He lost a bunch of weight and gained a bunch of muscle, and like he's
Good for
getting
Dan.
physical. So
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Dan's
good
a
for Dan.
softie.
no,
Yeah, a softy hockey player.
not on the ice. Not on the ice.
Not-
He isn't.
well, that's because no one's a softie on the ice. That's the game.
Yeah, that's the Canadian coming out.
All right, Andri, your turn
Oh
again.
yeah, roll the dice. I got a 9.
That's me again. And again, you're not allowed to include me because I'm on the episode.
Okay.
Adam says you now have the opportunity to ship any two hosts on the podcast, genders and sexes be damned. Who's your It's a Mimic power couple?
I'm not allowed to pick you.
Not allowed to pick me.
That would have been too easy. Okay. Ship to gender and everything down. Okay. Terry and Dan.
Why?
Because Dan would make the furniture and Terry would put him in it.
God damn it, Andri. Again. Stealing.
Fuck. Such a quick and to the point answer. That was beautiful.
I am, by the way, not sorry, Dan and Terry.
Scott, what's your answer?
Megan and Peps.
Yeah, why?
Well, okay. First of all, you can't tell me I already got a little chemistry. Come on, and they both like women. Come on, it's writing itself.
Fair. Robert?
See, I was going to say Dan and Terry as well, but I could see it as like a slow burn of, Terry, I'm gonna start playing hockey again. I kind of need to get back in shape. Oh yeah, Dan, I can come over and I can give you some pointers. And then, oh, do you need a spot there? Oh yeah, I need a spot there. And then that plays out.
I'm going to insist that they listen to this episode.
Oh, your form's
Good.
getting really good. Oh, I know it is. Oh, okay. Which
Careful
one said
for high
that? You get to
sticking.
ask. Yeah. Oh God. Just your grip on the bar there.
Don't knock my teeth out.
Oh man,
Oh,
Dan's gonna put him in the penalty box.
This is here we saw the duality of man. Robert went for the slow burn. I went for the quick and fast.
No, it's okay. Adam got there when he said put him in the penalty box. Then we were back to what you said.
Scott.
All right, let's get away from this now. 4. I think I rolled that before, but you're throwing new ones in.
Yep. Dan asks, what is your favorite elemental damage type? Like Dan is with fire, Brad is with lightning, and Adam is with psychic.
Ooh, so I DM, so I'm beholden to the stat blocks that are written in, but if I'm playing a video game, I like lightning, which Pathfinder has an entire storm druid, and it kind of has me excited to think about a character like that, but I'm also a DM, so I'm gonna come up with like 18 characters I'll never play.
Fair.
I like I think it's me next.
Yeah.
Force. And not just because so few people or creatures have a resistance to it, but I just like the idea of you've been hit so goddamn hard that it's also now an element. There's a concussive element. It's not just you got hit with it. It's going to rattle through your bones. You're going to feel it in all your soft tissue. It's just going to, wreck you.
Yeah, I mean, it's what Cyclops uses, and he's my freaking boy from the X-Men, so I'm all about that. Andri?
Honestly, it's pretty tight. I like lightning as well, but cold damage. That's what it's called. I was gonna say frost.
Well, you're from Iceland. Come on now.
Do you want to know what my middle name means?
Yes.
My middle name means snow. That's why I'm called that on Discord.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because a lot of people can't pronounce my first name, so I just call me Snow. I don't give a shit. But yeah, because if you think about it, when you get cold, you slow down, and then you ramp up that more, and now you're literally freezing someone.
Yeah, I wish that cold had deeper effects than just damage.
I agree. So, but in D&D, I like lightning a lot as well.
If you would have said cool rather than nerd earlier, they would have called you Snow for a different reason.
Oh boy.
Robert, give me a D20 roll.
11.
11. Kyle asks, do you have a favorite monster type?
Monstrosity.
Why?
Love a good monstrosity. I love the idea of, we were fucking around and oh shit, this thing is here. Well, just throw it out back and hopefully it'll die. And oh shit, now it's the invasive species. Oh, there's a bunch of those running around. Oh no. And I just love the this was sort of an accident. And now it's everywhere.
That's good.
Andri.
Yeah, I forgot that it was me immediately. Sorry. I'm gonna have to go with giant. As much as I love dragons, it's gonna be giant because they're cool, and because I speak mostly English in my games, and when I have giants, I can whip out the all Icelandic, and it's fun because everybody understands what I'm saying, but they can't understand what I'm saying because nobody has giant for a language.
Fair.
It's pretty cool, honestly.
Scott?
So I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to say humanoids.
To be fair, humanoid's my answer too, because I can get
yeah. Well, that's where you get your story from. Those are the stories that I like, where you have to take the time to do the talking and the figuring of everything out, and there's not a lot of other options for doing the talk. Okay, there is. Don't you dare get going on that. There are other options, but humanoids are just kind of your standard base bare bones, but humans come in all shapes, flavors, sizes, and everything, and there's so much you can do with it. Like talk to your kobolds.
Fair.
If it hasn't been said, talk to your kobolds, guys.
I love that has become her catchphrase. She has so many catchphrases, but that's the one that everyone remembers. So,
talk to your kobolds.
You know what? I think she'd still be proud that that's the one thing that everyone remembers. Talk to your kobolds. If she can leave any legacy, talk to your kobolds.
Yeah. Andri, give me another D20 roll.
Yes, that's 10.
Dave asks, what is one rule that you don't use in 5th edition and why? And Scott, you don't use any, so pick one from Pathfinder.
Oh God, there's a lot. Okay.
All right, so Andri, you're up first. What's one that you've just thrown out?
There definitely was one, but it's been a while since I DM'd. I don't think I ever threw out one. I did throw out one for flavor reasons. I threw out that some weapons only have a 10-foot range, that was one rule that I threw out for a player for flavor reasons, and I think it was ended up pretty nice. Like so he had a sledgehammer, but he still had 10 feet. I just didn't abide by that rule. That's I think the only rule that I've thrown out, and otherwise I stick to most of the rules unless it's a rule of cool.
Fair. Scott?
So Pathfinder by design is kind of a slower game. And by I mean like time-wise, like what you get done in a week of adventuring is designed to be a little slower. And that's because every time you take a long rest, you get all of your spell slots back, and then your level plus your con mod and hit points. I don't do that. Yeah, I do the whole good old D&D method of you get all your HP back, you get all your spell slots back. Mostly because my roommate has a +0 to his constitution and like 70 health. So, oh, you take a long rest. Congratulations, you get 5 health back. What do you want to do all day?
God, if you were to apply that to D&D, because it sounds neat. If you were to apply that to D&D, to 5th edition, you'd kill characters left, right, and center. The entire CR
Oh yeah,
system would be thrown.
Which
it's
is
already inaccurate.
so funny that I had said earlier that my barbarian alchemist can make more health potions than you can drink in a day. Maybe we'd go through them if I did this.
Yeah, fair.
Because each health I can make, oh gosh, what is that? 9, and I make them in batches of 3. So I can make 27 potions in a day if I make them all in the morning. And each potion heals 2d6 plus 6. You'd be fine on 27 of those in a day.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, especially since I started playing Baldur's Gate 3 with my boyfriend, he gets a lot of the lines crossed, and I said, you know what, fine. Yeah, let's just get all your hit points back on a long rest.
Fair. Robert?
Jumps to mind, and probably most DMs do this, ammunition and encumbrance. I mean,
yeah.
I don't track ammunition. I don't really track rations or I pseudo track encumbrance. You picked up this one big heavy item. Just tell me how you're getting it from here to there, and I'm going to make it difficult for you. But when they're carrying just their stuff in their backpack, or they're walking through the woods and they're all adventurers, I'm usually not hammering on that. I will give them a heads up if that's going to be a thing. I'll you're going to freezing temperatures. What are you doing for food? And then right after that would be not really a rule, but the recommendation for what an adventuring day counts as. Because when they're doing the overland travel and it's going to take you 2 weeks to travel from this spot to that, I don't want to do fucking 2 weeks worth of 6 encounters a fucking day. This is just going to eat up the next year of my goddamn time to get you from one place to another. So
my solution to that is if it's going to take a significant amount of time, I grab a die number that is less than that many days, and I get them to roll that to see how far they go before I make them roll for an encounter. And sometimes that on my random encounter tables, sometimes that's interacting with an NPC or stumbling across an item in the road, or an environmental thing like a bridge washes out. Like, it's not necessarily combat, so that makes travel feel important. But fuck, can you imagine 6 encounters a day on the road?
Right.
Yeah.
You would never finish Storm King's Thunder. Even with the goddamn airship, you would just never finish. It would just take too long.
Also, like, it's the road. What are you gonna fight wolves 6 times on the road? What kind of road is this?
This is another reason why, like, it has come up. I think we've dedicated 2 episodes. I think like an episode and a half of the campaign builder, and then 1 episode or a large chunk of 1 episode on the public podcast dedicated to roads, because they are so important. People don't think about it, right? If you're traveling and you go by road or you go by ship through like a regular shipping lane, nothing happens. Or if it does, it's minor, right? But if you're in the wilderness, that's where it gets fucky and scary, right?
Yeah.
So,
Like, you might see one dude who looks a little weird on the lightning rail, but you don't do anything about that.
if it's anything like our public transit, he's probably just peeing in the corner. So
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we can move on, I did think of one rule that I have actually thrown out and just changed entirely.
Sure.
I stole this from my good friend who lives in Salem, Massachusetts, who I play with. He does health differently, and I have adopted this. You have the average health, and then roll a D4, I believe it was, and that is your health for the next level. You don't.
Oh,
so
instead of just re-rolling, or instead of just rolling for it straight.
instead of just rolling the dice. So for a barbarian, you would have, what is it? It would be a 7 plus a D4, or how he had it differently. It would be a D6, I think, or for the barbarians, or something
Yeah.
like that.
So
He
just
had a
average
system-
plus.
Yeah, average plus insert dice. I don't remember exactly how it went, but I'd have to ask him again. But that's how I want to do my health, because then nobody gets a 1 plus your con.
Yeah, that's how I do it on my table. We re-roll 1s and 2s.
Yes.
Anytime that you
Same.
are doing that, or you're rolling hit dice during a short rest, just re-roll 1s
Yeah.
and 2s. Let's not fuck around.
Yeah, at my table now, we reroll 1s, and we always reroll 1s. But if we get under the average, we have 1 shot to get it over. Otherwise, you can either take the average or if you get a high roll, you take that.
Yeah.
Just to mitigate the fact that people roll 1s, and now you're so squishy that you can't be doing too much.
I mean, there's something to be said for being squishy, but in 5th edition specifically, the players are so powerful that you're pretty much guaranteed to be at a table of superheroes.
Yes.
So if you're the only squishy one, that really sucks.
Yeah.
However,
You better be a glass cannon.
yeah,
When you're Hawkeye on the Avengers, yeah.
yeah. Was that everybody? No. Yes. Scott,
Ooh, my turn. Come on, die, do something.
this is your last one. We're down to the last 3 questions.
17.
17. Dan asks, what is your go-to villain archetype? Conniving mastermind, brutal warlord, NPC gone bad.
So I have, as I'm still kind of new and switching systems around and stuff, I've been doing more pre-writtens. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna do my own homebrew, and I definitely want to do the more mysterious, like gag them a little bit on who the actual villain is. I don't know if I want to do like it's very obviously this big evil person that you've known since day one. I had the dragon come destroy the city, and now at the end of the campaign you kill the dragon. That's not my style. I want to have a little bit of subterfuge and stuff. Make them guess a few times who the actual bad guy is.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Conniving mastermind for that reason of I like somebody who, when they pull a twist, when they pull a turn, when they surprise people, there's a good in-world fiction to justify that. But usually I go with but they think they're right. Like there is not I wake up this morning and I've decided to be evil. It is no. I'm the sole correct person in the whole goddamn world, and I'm going to change it for my perspective of morality.
Yeah, those are the best villains. Joker, Magneto, Thanos, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
a core concept in Eberron, is that morality is very gray, and everyone tends to do what they think is best and right from their perspective.
Yeah. Andri?
It's the only real bad guys I've done, because none of the games I have DM'd have run long enough, sadly, but it's always like a dragon. So far, it's been a dragon, that is behind the puppet master,
Which is kind of the best of all worlds. You do get conniving mastermind and brutal warlord right out of the
same. And then if you have a certain dragon, that dragon always thinks he is right because he is all powerful. I think that's always what I've gone for, but I might probably change it up so that I'm less predictable.
Robert, give me a D20 roll.
Also a 17.
Mieka asks, which class is better between the two, warlocks or wizards?
Oh,
I'm going to go warlock. I like warlock more. I think warlock gives you a lot more interesting things with the patron interaction, and just being able to manage multiple resource pools and kind of fill any gap you want with a warlock. And the couple of times I've gotten to play, I think a warlock has been the most fun I've had. So warlock.
There. Andri?
I am gonna go with the other one. I'm gonna say wizard.
Why?
Because I think there's more versatility to a wizard, in my opinion. You have a bigger pool of spells and spell slots but at the same time, there's also just a lot more subclasses, or what is it, schools. And I have a divination in my party right now, and I've had a evocation, and then you can just blast a fireball in the middle of the party, and everybody's going to be fine. Essentially, like, I think there is a lot more versatility to the wizard than there. I play neither. I play marshals and half casters. That's what I play. When I play casters, it's a sorcerer and a bard, because that's fun. But I think the wizard is better personally, but I could see the argument for a warlock, however.
Scott?
So I was muted. So I have tried 3 times to play a warlock. I love the idea of the warlock. Just the things that I come up with for character concepts. On paper, I love the sound of all of the class features. 3 times I have gone to play a warlock, and all 3 times I've been extremely disappointed. Now, I don't know, it's probably just not the class for my playstyle, and that's fine. But I just can't figure out why I don't like it, what's going wrong. I feel like if you try to throw some gas on it as you're trying to go, now I'm out of resources and the fight just began. It's probably on my part for not managing my resources correctly, but I just want to like them and I don't. So I'm gonna have to go with a wizard. I'd rather do a wizard. Probably I'd do a divination wizard, and because the times I've played a full spellcaster, I got resources. I can dial in how much power I need for the situation and go from there.
Fair.
I'm gonna back it up and throw out the Dan answer though. Also, warlocks are great for multi-classing. I think they probably fit the multi-class realm just a teeny bit better than wizard with your classic,
Absolutely.
Bardlocks, Warlock, and Paladins. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll do a
I
blade
agree.
singer with a no, not an artillerist, and battlesmith. There you go. I'll make that work.
I have seen that one. Yep.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Robert. Warlock is better for multi-class. But I also agree with Scott. The appeal of Warlock and making a pact, whether it was you want more power or you have to save your own life, that Warlock on paper is very appealing to me. I have played it. I have had some success, but at the end of the day, I felt a little disappointed. But if I really want to go for it, and like my favorite multi-class is Hex. My headphones just died. Hold on, give me a solid second while I replace the batteries. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect this to happen.
Mid-word too. It's a hex, and that was it.
Let's all guess. I'm going to say a Hexblade Paladin.
Ooh,
Scott?
I'll do a Hexblade Sorcerer for no good reason.
Hexblade Bard, so we can be the Hexy Sexy.
Ooh.
Hey!
Now, listener, if you also want to guess, dial 999.
What the fuck did I miss? I just came back to 999.
The 10th caller.
It's your guess.
I'll find out in the bloopers of this fucking episode, it seems. Where was I? Because I lost my entire train of thought.
Your favorite multi-class with the Warlock.
Yeah, it is a Hexadin. It's a Hexblade Paladin. That is my favorite multi-class.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but so I agree with both points, but I will at the end of the day pick a wizard over Warlock.
Also, I think because Paladin and Warlock go so fucking well together.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing about that is on the internet they call it a padlock, and that's I think my favorite portmanteau.
See, and I just like multi-classing with a Hexblade just seems it's a little too power gamey for me, for my tastes. Like you'll very quickly get to you're stepping on other people's toes and invalidating their characters if they don't go to the same levels of power gaming as you.
But I'll say this, because you're a warlock, you're not getting a fuck ton of spells. And so you're not really beefing up your ability to do tons of smites, right? So you are doing tons of damage, but if in a long adventuring day, you end up relying on your minimal shit as well, especially because you're a half caster and a third caster, I guess. Like It's not a whole lot of spell slots, but it is a whole lot of damage output if you craft it appropriately.
Well, and
And-
just the single reliability on charisma as well.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot tell you, I've got a sorcerer bard, a warlock bard, and a and a bard warlock at my table. I am so done with charisma casters. Oh, sorry. and Casey took levels in paladin, and yeah, so I have 4 charisma casters at my table.
Well, to be fair, what other options did they have for casters?
She's an artificer. Go wizard. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Go Blade Singer. Come on.
No,
yeah.
I've been in the same boat as you, Adam, with having so many charisma casters.
I will say with the padlock combination, you do, a lot of people get attracted to it for that quick refresh on your smites. Oh, I'll just take a short rest and then boom,
Yeah.
there my smites are back. Which is great in Baldur's Gate, but I also really enjoy the role play aspect of, okay, so you are either a warlock cleric or a warlock paladin, where you've made a deal with a lower echelon being of the greater power that you also actually worship and believe in.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, no, I truly believe in Paylor, but I've also cut a deal with the Solar over here,
That's
in service of.
that is working so well in my own campaign right now because Casey's character is an Asimar and Mieka's character is a celestial warlock, and they have different backstories and discovered partway through that they're sisters. And because one went off with the mother, one went off with the father, and the mom and dad have been looking for each other for decades, right? And so now they've meet up, but they are both tied in to an angel because of the Asimar side and the celestial warlock side. But on top of that, that god is actually walking around and interacting with the players in the campaign as well. So the god that runs the angel has taken an interest in their group, and so it's very, very fun to have that levels the tiers of patronage and powerhouse. So
Absolutely.
we have one more question, and that is Andri rolling.
Let's go. That'll be a 7.
I can't ask this to wrap it up.
Uh-oh.
What?
So do we add another question? We make this the rare, we roll a 21 on the 20?
So to be fair, we've already done 20 questions because I forgot to mark off one of them before, and so this is question 21. But I'm going to ask it, then we can do another one because it's a bullshit question.
Okay.
Mieka asks, who is the cutest on the show, and why is it my fiance Adam? So that is a bullshit question.
Well, to be fair, I've only seen you on these calls and then pictures of Megan. I don't think I've seen pictures of anyone else.
That's all on the website. We got a bio section. You can
Oh
look at it.
boy,
I haven't been on your website in like a fucking year. You've updated it? What?
All right, well, I didn't roll the question. I have time to go to the website and peruse.
Andri.
Dan.
Yeah, it is that
Dan is the
turkey ass, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Robert.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mieka's answer of you, Adam. One, I've seen the beard. I appreciate the beard, big ginger, fiery beard. I like that. But, cute isn't just a metric of physical attraction. It's, I remember one episode, the girls were talking about who is the most romantic of the other, hosts, and they all agreed that you are the most romantic. And I think there was a cute little story told. So I thought that was very cute.
I vaguely remember that. Now I got to go back and stroke my ego. I said ego.
Delete it. Yeah.
Scott, did you?
Satyr.
Scott, did you?
I'm going
create the
to
website?
give. I did, and based solely off all of the pictures on the website, the most attractive, I have to go with Dave's picture on the website.
I fucking knew you were going to say that.
The Batman picture? Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture.
Wow, just knock it out of the park there, Dave. Mwah.
Oh, fuck. What even is
what?
this?
What's this first sentence? Dave shrugged off the stench of Ontario. What the fuck?
He wrote that.
Oh,
Everybody got to write their own bio, and then I cleaned it all up for grammar because all of them are borderline illiterate. But, but yep, good times. Good times.
That's good shit. That's good shit.
So, I'll give you a bonus for that because that was a bullshit question. Andri, you can roll one more time.
Yeah, sure. Where's my dice? There it is. Behind my laptop, seriously? Come on, man. Oh, natural 20.
This is a good one to end on. Kyle asks, what's your favorite movie?
What's my favorite movie? I swear I may have answered this question before on a podcast.
Yeah, I know that I've asked you this.
Yeah, but I think my favorite movie will still have to be Revenge of the Sith. However, I did watch Reign of Dragons. Is that what you told me to watch that one? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I
Rain
have
of
watched
Fire, I think it was.
Rain of
Fire.
Fire.
Yeah. Whatever, dude. I don't remember. But yeah, I did watch that one recently, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's still going to be Revenge of the Sith, just because that's what I grew up on. Because I am young.
Fair. Scott, what's your favorite movie?
Not so long ago, in the mysterious land of Toronto, Canada, Scott Pilgrim was dating a high schooler.
What a great movie.
I love that movie.
I've gone in blind. I didn't know what to expect. Fucking great.
The number of times someone asks me, what's that from? And I just go, my brain. No, I love that movie. There was 1 week where I seriously watched that movie 10 times in the span of 7 days.
Damn.
Yeah. I love it when you run across something that tickles you like that.
And it's
Robert?
not just because my name's also Scott.
Oh yeah, I guess. Hey, didn't even throw that. Yeah.
Leon the Professional.
Oh yeah, right on.
Oh yeah. Gary Oldman was just out of this world in that one. I mean, he was fantastic as always. Loved his whole classical music band. And then close second is a movie called Bunraku, which most people haven't seen, but Josh Hartnett, Ron Perlman, Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore. It's a after World War III and a world with no guns, a samurai with no sword and a gunslinger with no gun team up to take down the most powerful gang leader in the Far East. Fantastic film.
Which one of them is the gang leader? Woody Harrelson.
Ron Perlman, the
Really?
woodcutter. Yep.
Cool.
And he's got, I want to say like Ewan McKidd, I think his name is. He's got a really good supporting cast helping him out. And yeah.
Right on.
So
all right. So any final thoughts before we wrap this episode up?
Final thoughts? I don't know. What do you want? Like,
yeah, if
thoughts?
you the listeners thought that this was fun, hop on the Patreon and you could be in the next one.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, support
man,
the
that's
podcast. Become a member of the Greatwyrm Council. That's what I'm naming us.
There you go. I love that.
Can I do like a last minute shout out?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to shout out my newest group, who I got inspiration to making from one of the recent. It's the girls. When the girls were talking about their experience in D&D, I figured that I have a lot of friends who are girls who want to play D&D but haven't had the chance. So I made a group entirely made of girls with me as the DM, and I would like to shout each of them out. And I will send this podcast to them so they can listen to it.
Right on.
that's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
See, you two were sitting here being serious. Well, I'm trying to figure out which would use more lube, a Seder wedding or a Seder wake. And that's where my head's been at for the past hour and a half.
Look, if the wedding is good enough, the wake is probably only a few days later.
Right. One just leads into the other seamlessly. It's 4 weddings and a funeral for a goat.
Yeah, one leads to the other seamlessly. That's what the lube's for.
Yep.
What a transition. I'm going to do a little bit of an Icelandic accent for the end of this, just so that everybody can understand how fucking bullshit this accent is. I hate it.
No, it's not. It's really
I think
not.
you
How
sound
you-
great, man. Honestly.
I loved
Yeah.
how you said you were going to do the accent so everyone could understand, but wasn't the point of the accent that they can't understand?
No, see, because I speak good enough English that I can at least make my words sound good. The problem is everybody in Iceland mumbles English a lot of the time.
Everyone in Canada mumbles English too.
Yeah, everybody in the South also does. I've got a very clear.
Fun fact: there's a place in Canada that speaks a dialect of Icelandic because so many Icelandic people fled the Icelandic country at one point. Fun fact.
Is that in Newfoundland?
I was going to say that's the Newfies. It's gotta be.
Maybe. I mean, Newfoundland is what I would say is nyfundna land, which means newfound land.
Yeah, Newfoundland, they have their own dialect. It is.
I think it's a specific town specifically because of shocker, a fucking volcano erupted here and killed a third of our population, and a third of it escaped went to Canada. So fucking shocker. Speaking of, we're waiting for the next one. Let's go.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this mailbag episode. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, comment, and review to help push our engagement. And don't forget to subscribe to find future inspirations for your campaigns. If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website. It's mimic.com, where you can also creep our bios, as well as the Patreon, where you could become part of the Greatwyrm Council. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Thanks again for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
Cue outro music.
That's not the outro at all.
How's your mailbag?